So today is Sunday, and I'm on my way home from church. And this is an update, my situation in general. Mostly for my son and my family, but a little bit for my health stuff, mainly for my family. So my son George is doing pretty good. He's doing pretty well. He's recovering. It's October, so it's been 10 months, 10 and a half months since he had his liver transplant, and his blood work is good. He's off of his off of his prednisone. He's basically just taking the maintenance level of his immunosuppressant drugs. The only side effect, well, I'm sure there's multiple side effects that maybe not are that noticeable yet, but the main one that's bothering him is he gets the canker sores from the medication as a side effect. So he's got sores in his mouth pretty frequently, which makes it uncomfortable for him to eat. However, emotionally, everything has taken its toll, stress-wise, especially on his mother and I. So, but unfortunately, it's impacted him too. So, his mother and I have separated, and we're in the process of going through a divorce. And I personally believe that it's a side effect of, we had problems before this, chronic problems with communication and conflict management, and compromising, working through our problems. And we tried to do counseling a couple of times, but I really want to be careful about what I say, so I'm going to really be careful about what I say. Basically, in my opinion, and psychology teaches that children need both of their parents to love them, and our situation makes it very difficult. And I have to be really trying hard not to get into specifics because I don't want to say anything negative, but long story short is that the situation was just really stressful and toxic, and it's not conducive for our son's healing, George's healing, or any of us to maintain long term. Ideally, everybody involved would take a chill pill and, respect boundaries and seek counseling and work through some of these issues, open up lines of communication, and have a professional mediator to try to help us work through some of these things and solve these problems so the family doesn't have to be broken apart. And on top of that, divorces are bad enough by themselves, but to involve lawyers, you're adding tens of thousands of dollars worth of expenses that we don't have. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So it's just added a lot of stress for George and for all of us. So I bought the house, but I gave it to my wife, and I asked my lawyer to make sure that she gets to keep the house. I'm not really wanting my half out of it unless she sells it. If she sells it, then I want my half, but otherwise I just assume that she'd be able to stay there. I don't have any money really to speak of in my name except to pay for my bills. My identity got stolen by the Chinese, along with a lot of other people's. And I've already had my identity stolen once, and it was a pain in the butt to get cleared up. So I just decided that I'm just going to lock down my credit, keep all my bank accounts to the bare minimum that I need to pay my bills, and I pretty much put everything in my family's name or in a trust fund so that I don't have to worry about any of that. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. My mom bought a half acre of property. I'm staying with my mom. She's got a full basement that's half finished, and so that's going to get finished. It's got 2 bedrooms and a full bath. It's basically like its own apartment. It's the same size as the upper floor, and that's where my home will be until I can get this half-acre lot that we bought. I'm putting a garage on it next month. I'm going to finish the garage and try to get it fixed up so that it's insulated, so that I can use it like a little tiny house. But basically it's going to be like a chapel, and to store my gardening equipment. And I'm going to landscape the property and get it ready to build a house on it, and put in a storm shelter. So it sucks starting over again at 57, but I don't really have any choice in the matter. This was not what I wanted. This was not my choice. So, but God's will be done. I think in a lot of ways it's probably going to be better for everybody. It's not ideal, but it'll be better than what it has been. But definitely keep us all in your prayers, especially George, because he's had a rough year. I mean, he's had unexpected liver transplant, liver failure, then he got cancer, and the whole time he's dealing with all this stress and tension and uncertainty, and not really understanding everything's going on, and he's got all these side effects from the medications that affect his mood, and made it put on a bunch of weight. And now that he's off those medications, his weight's coming down, but he's still got a lot of emotional stuff, and then his family falls apart. So, I mean, that's horrible. That's a really rough year for my son. So, and for all of us, actually. So he could definitely use your prayers. So could I. So could his mother. I have, there's only so much I can say. Anyway, I expect everything will work out long term. I have a feeling that probably not now or this year, but probably if a year or 3 or 4 or 5 down the road, this whole divorce thing might be a regret, but there's not much I can do about it now. My opinion about that is that if, later on down the road, my wife can see her way to working through some of these issues, and maybe we could learn to communicate better and compromise and have better conflict management skills. If she changes her mind, then we can reconsider getting remarried or not. I don't know if that'll happen. A lot of it has to do with religious beliefs too. I'm an Orthodox Christian, and she's pretty much non-denominational and doesn't go to church anywhere, and those are pretty opposite ends of the spectrum, and so that makes there's a lot of different values and belief system differences that make it very difficult to synchronize our vibe, if you know what I mean. So God's will be done. In a lot of ways, it could be a blessing. So we'll see. I am planning on focusing a lot more energy on my gardening and landscaping and prayer life and reading and writing books. My father left me a library. Actually, he gave over half his library away to the city that he lived in when he moved to the monastery in Oklahoma. So, but he kept all the history books and the religious books for my brother and I. So we got Christian history and world history were his favorite subjects. So most of the library is that, and I love those subjects too. So basically my garage is going to be floor-to-ceiling books, just like it was when I was a kid. I'm going to take my father's books and add my own to it, and I'm just going to make it a library, chapel, tiny house, and garden. And basically it'd be like a monastic life, but for a layman, because I'm not really officially a monastic. So divorce is going on right now, and I really can't say a whole lot about that, but I expect that more than likely it'll all turn out okay, and I expect that probably I'll be spending at least half the time with my son, and then the other half will be with his mother. Right now, not quite that good, but hopefully later on it'll be better. What else is going on? I think that's about it. The testosterone situation has improved quite a bit. Basically, I'm on maintenance. They've reduced my dose to tolerable levels. I don't feel too wound up or too tired. There are days when I still try to cut myself a little bit and not take a full dose as prescribed, because I try to push myself to force my body to produce its own. And I'll do that until I'm exhausted and I feel like I just need the energy. But as soon as I get my debts caught up, because this year's been really tough financially and the divorce didn't help any, once I get those paid off, maybe in a year or two from now, I'll be able to go and do the naturopath doctor, who will basically run labs on me, and he or she will help me to figure out my nutritional needs, deficiencies, or whatever's off that I need to adjust to help my body be able to produce its own testosterone. We'll try to figure out if I can get off of the prescription and get back to a natural dose. In the meantime, I'm training for the Appalachian Trail. So I walk an average 5 to 7 miles a day at work. Some days I'll walk 10 or 15 miles at work. And then when I come home, I walk another 3 to 5 miles a lot of days. And the average miles on a average day on the Appalachian Trail for most people is about 15 to 20 miles a day. And so that's my goal. I ordered a weighted pack vest, 40 pounds. When I was in the military, and actually when I was in the DOD, I worked for the Department of Defense. I was a firefighter. I did every kind of firefighting you can imagine. Every kind of rescue. I was trained in everything. To keep my certification for wildland firefighting, I had to wear a 45 or 50 pound pack and walk 3 miles in 45 minutes, which is 4 miles an hour consistently. I'm 57 now, so I'm not sure I can still do that, but I'm going to give it a shot. The only thing about being older is that you have to train a little bit slower, give yourself a little bit more recovery time. But I saw a deal with ancient Romans. Their elite soldiers could go 20 miles in 7.5 hours with a 40 or 50 pound pack. So that's a fun challenge for me to try to be that. If I can do that, then I'm doing pretty well for my age. I doubt that I'm able to do that consistently, because I know that my body is not recovering like it used to. I've already experienced that, but I'm definitely going to try. And the goal is that every year I'll hike a section of the Appalachian Trail for a week or two until I get the whole thing done. I would love to take off 6 months and do it all at once, but I don't have that kind of money. And I'm afraid if I wait until I'm retired, then I'll be too old. So I want to do it while I can. So that's an update of my life right now. I've dropped some weight, of course, with the stress of the divorce. I've dropped 15 pounds in the past 3 or 4 weeks. And I want to get down another 10 pounds to be at my ideal weight. And then just try to maintain that the rest of my life. So that's the update of what's going on with George and I and my family. Please keep us in your prayers. Obviously we need it. I haven't given up or abandoned my family. I still hope that my wife comes back around and we can try to hold it together. I'm definitely have no interest whatsoever of starting another family, I can tell you that. 57 years old. If I truly lose this family, it will be my last. I attempt, and then I'll basically be working towards being a monk, or a layman version of a monk. So pray for me, a sinner. God bless. Over and out.